Okay, what is up, guys? Ryan and Tiffany.
Are we live?
We are live. I hit the button already. I was waiting for it to kind of upload and do its thing.
You weren't even going to tell me again.
We are live on the YouTube.
We are live on the YouTube at 2 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah. So tell everybody, Tiff, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, so what is up, Frank? Good to see you. Breaking news, the parents of Ethan Crumbley,
So that's a shooting that happened in Oakland County.
Yes. So the prosecutor just said that they are bringing on 4 charges, each parent, including involuntary manslaughter. So, we haven't seen this happen yet with one of the school shootings. But
actually, you're right. I haven't ever seen the parents get charged, which is shocking because if a parent ever deserved to get charged, I guess she got murdered. But
I was going to say
the Sandy Hook shooting.
Yeah, but she was murdered. So
yeah.
This just happened moments ago. The state prosecutor announced that they were going to go forward with this. And, she kind of explained her position on why she was bringing charges against the parents. And I have to say, they're legitimate concerns, legitimate reasons to actually bring on these charges. So there was a lot of, I hate to say the term red flag, but there was a lot of kind of red flags. Warning signs
could have prevented this if people, again, that's the issue with every time we see a school shooting or something really tragic, is when they start going over the data and all the stuff.
Right.
We realize oh shoot, that was a sign, that was a sign, that was a sign, but nobody did anything.
Right,
which is terrifying.
Exactly. So, the other thing is, so they bought their son this SIG 2022, which you guys don't know. It's like a full-size SIG 9mm. I believe it holds like 17 rounds.
Yeah, it's a full size.
It's a full size. So, same as a Glock 17. And they purchased this firearm for their son, which, hey, when Lincoln's 15, he already has guns, but
Lincoln already has 5 or 6 guns.
I was going to say, he's already got a bunch, but I'll probably buy him, a handgun or whatever too. So I don't have there's nothing against buying your kid a firearm. However, they should have limited access to that. It should be locked up and kept away from them unless you're going to go to the gun range, you're going to take it out to clean it, then it's supervised and you can bring that gun out. So, big problem number 1 was the firearm was not secured.
Okay.
Right? They didn't have
where were the parents keeping this gun?
Apparently in the kid's bed or the parents' bedroom drawer. Just the drawer.
In the parents' drawer, okay.
Just the dresser drawer.
Sure.
Okay. So, and obviously he knew it was in there, and it just wasn't locked up, right? And we all know, if you are a responsible gun owner and you have minors in the house or, felons or people that are unauthorized, that you need to have those firearms securely encased, locked away, and not easily accessible, right? So first things first, that rule was broken. Secondly, the parents got a text or an email from the school just days before because Ethan had gotten caught looking for ammunition on his phone. Again.
At school.
In
class. Okay.
In class. Okay. Yeah. So they emailed the parents, no response. Sorry, they called, left a voicemail, no response. So then they followed up with an email to the parents. And again, no response. But they found out after the fact that the mom had texted the boy, right? Because after all this happened, they took the phones. And there was a text by the mom saying, I'm not mad at you, but you got to get better at not getting caught. Right?
Which is a super weird thing to say. So we have Lincoln and Jax. I don't have to worry about the stuff with Paisley, but Lincoln and Jax are 10 and 7, right? Jax will be 8 soon. We have the conversation a lot about never talking about guns at school, don't talk about bullets. One of Lincoln's friends accidentally brought a pocket knife to school.
Yeah.
And Lincoln was the one that said, you're not allowed to have a knife.
Right.
And thankfully his friend was able to hide it and bring it home. And hopefully it never happens again. Right. But that's, these are conversations we need to have with our children so they understand what they are allowed to do and what they can't.
Yeah, and we even go as far as don't even talk about Nerf gun. Like just the whole gun thing
Because it all just gets blown out of proportion and taken out of context.
Oh, he said this, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, I was talking about my Nerf gun. So we just tell them, like, and we explain to them, right? There's been incidents, there's been things that have happened, and this is why it's a sensitive subject. You know, here at our house, we talk about it openly, but we don't want to do that in public, and the kids are just aware of that. So, number one, I would have said, hey, I get that you're looking at ammunition. That's not like a massive warning sign to me. If
I think it's a warning sign. Like, you got to remember,
you just got a gun and you're looking at ammunition.
Yeah. People tell me all the time, they're like, Ryan, when I was growing up, like, we would go hunting in the woods in the morning at dawn, and then we would go to school, guns in the truck, and it was just a non-issue.
Right.
Things have changed.
Yes,
like,
things
you
have
can't
changed.
do that anymore without people wildly overreacting.
Yeah, so I don't think he should be looking at it, but, the parents probably should have done more with explaining to him, like, hey, you can't be doing this stuff at school.
Sure.
You can't be, because it just seemed like maybe they
Brushed it off.
They just brushed it off. Exactly.
Okay, so then what's the second thing that happened?
So here's where it gets crazy, right?
The voice got loud, so pay attention.
I did not know this, but here's where it gets crazy. So the teacher finds this doodling, right, in Ethan's desk. And it has help me. It has a drawing of a body laying there with 2 bullet holes, blood splattered. It has a drawing of a bullet. It has a drawing the words, the world is dead, or something like that. And then it says, like, I can't stop the thoughts, right? So this is a big warning sign in my opinion.
Strange.
Strange. This is like psycho.
Yeah.
Kids don't do that unless they're mentally disturbed.
Sure.
You don't draw that. You don't, and especially you don't say, help me, and I can't stop the thoughts. So right away when this happens, the mom or the teacher takes a picture of this drawing, right? She notifies the school officials. The school officials call the parents in for this emergency meeting, right? So in my eyes, the school did everything that they should have up until this point. They all met with the school counselor. They said he needs to be enrolled in therapy within 48 hours.
The school said that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, they talked about this or whatever. Apparently he had scratched all this stuff out on the page, but the teacher already had a picture, so they had the evidence. And it sounds like the parents treated it as, again, nonchalantly, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They let Ethan stay at school. Okay, this is where I think the school officials made a mistake. I would have said, you got to leave. You're not, I don't think that drawing that in class, I don't think that that's appropriate. And then now when, if you're that teacher and you're searching for ammunition and now you've got a gun, right, drawing about a gun and I can't stop these thoughts and stuff, it's like,
yeah, those are some big warning signs.
Those are some big warning signs, and then if you just take it a step further, just a couple days ago, he posted on social media that he just got this new sweet gun. So, I think the school probably should have had him removed at least for that day until they could kind of, investigate a little further. But here's the kicker, okay? The parents, after all this happened, the parents did not notify the school to let them know that he has access to a gun. So that...
Yeah, I don't think the parents need to notify the school of that. I think at this point, the parents should be wondering, where is the gun?
Where is the gun, right? That would be my first thought. You're drawing this stuff. You're saying, help me. You're saying, I can't stop the thoughts. And so where is this firearm? But I think for sure, 100%, then they should have took him home. If they don't want to notify the school, they should have made him come home.
Sure.
Right? So that they could secure the firearm, lock it up, make sure that it stayed locked up, get your kid into some counseling, because that is not normal. You can say what you want to say, but drawing that kind of stuff is not normal. That is a kid who is crying out for help.
So then what happened next?
So the parents let him stay at school. They went home, and a few hours later, that's when the shooting started. The kid had his gun in his backpack. They did not check his backpack or his locker. When they got home, they did not check to see if the firearm was there right away. Maybe it wasn't a few hours. Maybe it was, they didn't say. The prosecutor did not say. So we don't know the timeline of when the parents left the school.
And the shooting started.
To when the shooting started.
Yeah.
Okay. So as soon as the shooting started and the news broke out and the mom saw it on TV, she texted her son and said, don't do it.
Which again is odd. It's very odd because she already knew in her mind what was progressing and what was about to happen.
I could be wrong. Sorry. When the news came on, the dad called the school and said, or the police and said, I think this could be my son. The mom might have sent that text when they left the school.
Okay. She sent the text when she left school?
We don't know. They didn't say.
Oh, you're saying, okay, all right.
She sent a text. All they have is the text, but the timeline hasn't come out yet. It'll come out in trial. It'll come out in a few days, right? But the fact that she sent a text saying, Ethan, don't do it. So now if you left the school and you're like, I'm going to text him to tell him not to do it, then what else do you know?
Right.
What other warning signs were there? Because I know, even with, my own kids, I know with human nature, I know with everything, I hate to quote Oprah, but she said, believe a person the first time they tell you who they are. So that I truly believe that there were other warning signs.
Yeah, there always are. Every time
kid.
we have a situation like this, when we look back, we can see a tremendous amount of warning signals.
Yeah. I can guarantee you he didn't go from happy-go-lucky kid, playing with his dirt bikes and with his Legos to stop these thoughts and I'm, drawing blood and gore.
Yeah.
I think there had been previous conversations or previous warning signs that had to have happened. So what is people...
Okay, so a lot of people agree. Why wasn't the firearm secured in a safe? I think that's a great point. There's still a lot of gun owners out there. It comes from a fixed mindset, which is limiting beliefs, right? Mm-hmm. There's these limiting beliefs in the Second Amendment community that by safely storing my firearms, that's somehow an infringement on our rights. Mm-hmm. Well, it's called being responsible.
Yeah.
The infringement on our rights is when the government tells us to do it. I don't need the government to tell me to be smart with my guns.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure my children are safe and protected. And listen, if I didn't have kids, my guns would just be sitting around. Mm-hmm. But I do have children. And we have neighbor kids come over and stuff. I got to keep my guns locked up because we just don't know what is going to happen and when it's going to happen.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't think that it's an infringement to, be safe and responsible and understand that, these things can happen. And, we always talk about how kids are just very, their brains, scientists have proven this, that their brains are not matured and they do not work.
Until the age of 25.
Yes, they do not work the same way as an adult brain, right? We can think through consequences and we can think through our actions, but kids with their growing brain, it limits them, right? So, and they also have more of a long term, they think like what's happening in school is like the rest of their life type of thing. They can't see past that.
Yeah.
So if they're having trouble or a hard time, they think it's like this forever. Where we can understand, no, this is just a season. This will change. It's not going to be like this forever. So kids will make permanent decisions in temporary situations because they cannot comprehend past that, right?
Yeah, so Daniel says, was the gun purchased for him or was it the father's? It sounds like the gun was purchased for the kid.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. We're going to buy a new gun later tonight at Bunker Depot. If you guys haven't been there, go check them out. They had a huge Black Friday sale. And I can't tell you the prices because YouTube and stuff will flag me, but it's amazing stuff. Yeah. So check them out. But, buying guns for your kids is normal. That's like what gun owners do, right? It is not a big deal.
Yeah, all of our kids own guns. But
allowing a 15-year-old that you already know is struggling emotionally to have access to that gun is not okay. And like I've said before, we've given Paisley access to a gun when we left her alone.
I don't really know that that's ever happened, but I don't think that any kid, because of the not being able to process things, you can totally. So I'm going to tell you guys a story of a young man in South Tampa. Okay. The mom, he was 15 years old too. And the mom, he went shooting all the time. They bought a 22. It's a 22. The mom let him have access to the 22. Okay. They went shooting all the time together. It was a single mom and her son. They had fun. He knew firearm safety. He knew all of this. But here's where it goes wrong. Here's where a child's brain is not the same. He had some things happen at school. He had like a girlfriend break up with him. He was very emotional.
Yeah.
He took the gun. He went downstairs in the shower and he shot himself in the shower with the 22 pistol.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. That kid, did the mom have to lock up the firearm because she thought he's going to go, shoot up a school or he's going to go rob a bank? No, because she knew her son. He was a good kid. He was a loving kid. He was a kind kid. Problem is, I don't think she thought through that kids get, the hormones. Just think of all the hormones, right? Going through puberty and you got all this stuff happening and now you have your first heartbreak and you think your world's ending and you make a permanent decision in a temporary situation. That should have not happened because that firearm should have been locked up and kept away from him. Even though he was technically,
a good kid,
a responsible kid. But it's not always the fact that you're worried about them hurting somebody else. Sometimes it's about them hurting themselves or making a mistake. Again, kids get distracted very easy. Their brain is still growing. So they could get distracted and accidentally, forget one of the firearm safety rules and shoot themselves. It happens. Even adults do that.
Oh my gosh, it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. So while the child is in your care, while they, are in your home under the age of 18, I don't care how responsible they are. I feel like there needs to be, that supervision and that, you're just guiding them. You're helping them. You don't.
Yeah. So Cowboy says, my gun is always with me. Good. And very few times it is not. It's locked up, 100%, never just there. I think that's smart, man. Because again, you just never know. Not only that, like you don't know what kind of, you have a handyman. We had a bug guy come in yesterday. Yeah. And if you just leave guns laying around, you might not realize there's a gun sitting next to your nightstand.
Yeah.
And now you got your bug guy just walking around your house unsupervised, right?
Yeah.
And you just don't know who that person is or what they're going to do.
Yeah, and this goes back to there was a grandparent, and he left his guns kind of all over the place. Like he had, one in the toilet, behind the toilet tank.
Who, your grandpa?
No. This is a grandfather that I think it was actually from Lincoln Tactical. So I don't know, when we had the gun store. So he had guns all over the place, right? Like behind the toilet tank and under the couch cushion. He just had them everywhere. But he realized very quickly that was a big mistake because then he had grandchildren. And what would happen is the grandkids would come over to visit and they would put away all the guns, but he would forget where all his guns were. So he actually forgot 2 guns out. And I can't remember what happened. Nothing bad happened, but basically like what he...
It was enough for a reality check.
He realized, holy crap, like when he went to put his guns back or whatever it was, he realized that he had left 2 guns in these hiding spots because he forgot.
Yeah.
Right? That is also another reason why you don't want to be doing that about just leaving.
And that kind of stuff doesn't just happen. So like, again, in the gun world, there's this idea that I got to have guns under all my couch cushions.
This is when you watch John Wick.
You're watching too many movies, man.
Yeah.
So you're watching too much stuff. It just doesn't go down like that statistically.
Yes.
So have a gun concealed on you. Have a gun. If you've got a 2-story house, have a gun downstairs in a gun safe, have a gun upstairs in a gun safe. You're pretty solid at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, unless ISIS is invading your freaking house,
you don't need one in every
more.
Room, under every cushion. Yeah, exactly. We go to bed, have one, by your bed or your nightstand or whatever it is. But
okay, so Jason says, Jason Webb, what are your thoughts on Baldwin? I assume you're talking about Alec Baldwin.
Oh, so now his new story is that he didn't pull the trigger. Right? Which
is that really?
Yes, because I think he's realizing like this is
a big deal.
This is bad.
He might go to jail for this.
And I think he's realizing the backlash that kind of he's getting.
Good.
And he's not liking it. So now his new thing is that he did not pull the trigger, but wasn't it a single action army?
Single action army revolver. So I mean, it's a light trigger, but you pulled it, bro. You pulled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and again, that isn't even the part that matters. You had a firearm that you failed to perform a safety inspection on.
Right.
You pointed it at another human being.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't pull the trigger, that firearm discharged.
Yeah.
So that is 110% his fault, plus it is the fault of whoever's in charge of those guns, that prop master.
There was a lot of mistakes. Apparently, in between sets, they were shooting live rounds.
Right. The fact that they even allowed live ammunition, the director should be prosecuted, in my opinion.
Yes.
The director, who's in charge of the set, right?
Yeah.
Director, prop master, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
There should never be live ammunition on a movie set like that.
Yeah.
Ever.
So it's so crazy because when we do our beginner's guide to firearms course and stuff like that, that's the first thing that we teach in our videos, right?
Get it out of the room. It's not even acceptable if it's over there. It can't even be in the same room.
Yeah, it's exactly. So you have literally no chance of anything happening because actually, we tell people don't even buy live ammunition, just buy dummy rounds, right? Practice with that. You don't even need to have live ammunition in your house when you're learning to actually manipulate a firearm.
Yeah.
So, but in your training area, you never have any live ammunition there. We tell people that all the time.
Okay, so here's something BIM says. He says, but he isn't a gun nut. We prefer the term enthusiast. Doesn't look for things like live ammo.
Okay.
But listen, here's the thing. I don't go and just start investing money in the stock market because I don't know how to invest money in the stock market. And it's easy for me as somebody that doesn't know what to do to make a mistake.
Yeah.
So what do? We hire a professional that actually knows what to do and how to do it. Okay? If they don't know anything about guns, guess what you do? You hire a gun professional that knows exactly what should be happening here, and you have them on the set of that movie to be the person in charge. Like when they do these big explosions, right, on movie sets, they don't just have me go out there and say, hey, light a bunch of shit on fire, let's see what happens.
Right.
They have professional pyrotechnic people that know what to do and how to do it properly. Why don't they do that with guns?
Well, they definitely, this is the other thing, though. Whether you're a gun nut or not, like I had this conversation on the Florida Concealed Carry group, it doesn't even matter because you should, at the very least, if you're going to be shooting movies, right, for your entire career, he's been doing this, with real firearms, the least you could do is go on YouTube, five top firearm safety rules. Take you literally 3 minutes to learn these rules and know that you should treat all firearms as if they're loaded. Never point a firearm at anything that you're not willing to destroy. I mean, this is very, very basic stuff. We're not saying, hey, you should be able to determine whether that's live ammunition or prop ammunition or anything like that. But at the very, very basic, don't put your finger on the trigger, right? So if those 3 rules would have been followed.
Yeah, and so BIM responded and said, LOL, the professional gave him a loaded gun.
Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting. The quote-unquote professional, the prop master, was a young woman who had no firearm experience.
Yes.
She says that herself. Mm-hmm. She said in the beginning, I felt like I did not receive enough training on what to do with these guns.
Right.
So that's kind of her statement. I'm sure she's lawyered up if she's smart.
Yeah.
But again, you hired somebody to handle guns that doesn't understand guns.
Right. It should have been a licensed instructor, right? Or somebody who was a professional, law enforcement, whatever it is, that
somebody who's a shooter, a real gun person, right?
Yeah.
So it's just shocking to me.
And Lord knows there's a lot of us out there.
I know, right?
I mean, I could have done that job.
And what's funny is we're all willing to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And here's what's funny about this. We got people like Alec Baldwin or all these Hollywood elites talking about we need more gun safety, we need all this stuff. You're not following gun safety.
Right.
You're blaming us.
Right.
You are the ones that are not doing what you're supposed to do, but then you criticize us when we're not even involved in this stuff, and you're not even asking us for help to prevent these types of incidents. It's just scary. So anyway, that's my opinion.
So Frank says, whoa, the only gun that goes off on itself is a SIG P320. Just a joke. I know. I was thinking the same though, and I was like, see, like this is not a firearm that's been recalled and stuff like this. It's a Colt single action army. I don't know. So
Scary, crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, we just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this, and I am curious to see what plays out, in the next few weeks and what they actually let us know about this. But really quick before we go, and I forget the young man, so please forgive me. My phone is in the other room, but. Kudos to that young sheepdog, right? Young kid actually went straight for the shooter.
So this is the school shooter. We're changing stories now. School shooter in Oakland County.
Yeah.
So while the kid was shooting, the 15-year-old, another kid did what?
Another kid just ran straight at him.
Wow.
Just ran straight at him to tackle him. I believe he was a football player. I'm not going to have.
And did he tackle him or did he get killed?
He got shot and he was rushed to the hospital and then he later died. So, super super sad for the 4 lives that were lost. And there are several kids that are right now like still in critical condition. So they need our prayers. They're in rough shape. But this young man, what. It's like
it's sad.
It's sad, but it's also, it's like when these young men in the military die. Yeah. You just know that they had such a big heart and such a good heart, to just think I'm not gonna hide. I'm gonna do my best to stop this from happening. And he was a true sheepdog, which is just incredible. Because we forget that these young men have that capability.
Sure.
Of
course.
But just such a sad story, and definitely keep the families in your prayers because it's just such a sad situation, and not just the families. Let's be honest here. We got to keep our nation in our prayers, and we got to be praying for all kids, right? Because it's just incredible how things have changed.
Spiraled out of control.
Yes, spiraled out of control. Yes. And we need God, we need more God, and we need more and more God more than ever right now in our country. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We're excited that it's Friday night for us, so we get to have our family fun night. Ryan gets to buy a gun because I woke up this morning and said, let's get you a gun, babe.
That's not what happened. She took one of my guns.
I took one of his guns.
This is going to be my new concealed carry gun. And I said, well, students shoot that gun a lot. She's like, you can buy another one. I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, exactly. Because the Glock 43X, the butt is just a little bit. It's, us women that wear tighter clothes. So I think I'm going to start carrying the SIG P365. I'm going to give that a whirl, see what happens, and see if it's more comfortable. And if not, Ryan got a new gun out of the deal.
God bless America.